Hey guys, welcome to Soul Sisters.
Hi.
Lisa and Alicia. Okay,
Hey.
so we've been getting a lot of people contacting us, and we know out there right now, fear and anxiety is a huge thing. So we figured today that we would talk about fear and anxiety and bring up how you can deal with these things and so on and so forth. So, Lisa, do you want to get going with that? Start with that. We're going to both give our own perceptions on stuff because we see things so differently, but it's the same thing.
It's
right.
the same.
Yes.
Same, but different.
Right.
So I think fear manifests itself in a lot of different ways. For me, it's probably different than you, but it's all the same. And one thing that I want to say is that Alicia and I were talking earlier is that as you proceed through life and you're making decisions, you have two roads you can go down. It's either love or fear. If it's fear, it's not of God.
Yeah, and I've been told that ever since a child. If you have to make a decision and you're making a decision out of fear or guilt, you are never choosing the right choice.
And shame.
Yeah, and shame. That's another one that really gets you. Really, really gets you.
Right, and fear manifests so many different ways. It's mostly a lot of people, I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of people are experiencing fear as anxiety.
Yes. And it's been coming through a lot in my readings lately. A lot of people are just losing their minds. And I know in my own personal videos on my Facebook page, I have talked prior about how this past year and a half, this crazy, or I guess maybe year, right? It's been about a year since the world kind of seemed to turn upside down on us. A lot of people are really struggling with the energy of the planet, the energy of everything that's going on out there. Everyone is walking around on pins and needles right now. And you go to the grocery store and all you can see is legit, like just the eyes. And half the time, you don't know if they're happy. You don't know if they're scared. You don't know if they're smiling under that mask. You don't know what is going on. And this is not how we as human beings should be experiencing each other at all. Right. And it's rough.
And it doesn't help that we have the media that is bombarding us with tons of fear things. So no matter what the topic is on the media today, it usually brings along with it fear.
Yes, and it's that energy that we're just so scared. Mm-hmm. And I get it. We both get it. Everybody's so scared, and we're all just trying to survive in our own houses, in our own little corners. And, we're all just trying to get through this. And guys, I know a lot of people have started taking anxiety medication. I know that's been really common lately, and I would never tell you not to take it. But I do feel that this last year, at least for me, and I know a lot of people, pretty much everyone that I know, God, the universe, whatever you believe in, has taken every single thing that you fear the most, all that stuff that you keep down.
Let's put it there.
Yeah, inside your belly. And he's made you throw it up, and you've been sifting through it this year. Mm-hmm. And it's horrifying. It is. And I am so proud of every single one of you because you've made it this far. You're going to keep going, and we're going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, and you've just got to face this stuff right in the face, and you've got to steamroll it.
Well, and I think a lot of people lack the skill of living with fear. Because what we tend to do as humans, as especially females, but we tend to look the other way because we have children to attend to, we have jobs, we have husbands, we have in-laws, we have so many things that we need to deal with.
Yes.
That we're like, I don't have time to deal with this. And then what happens is then when we are in the middle of what's been happening on the planet, it brings it all up for us. And what we're saying is, this is a great opportunity.
This is a great growth time. This is a huge growth time, you guys. We're going through a huge change on this planet.
Right.
And if you don't get rid of your trash,
Right. Don't waste this time
Yeah.
in humanity to not look at your fears, to not look at what makes you cry, to not look at all of the things that's behind your fear. Don't miss this opportunity, because I was saying to Alicia earlier, before we came on air, that we have this opportunity. And shit, I forgot what I was going to say. Damn it. Oh, I'm so sorry.
but we do. We're so
Thank
lucky
you.
that we have this opportunity to grow.
Right.
Because a lot of us have been taking this growth and putting it on the back burner.
Absolutely.
Putting it in the back seat. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. You know, well, hey, I turned 50 and I'm like, whoa, I turned 50. You know, we don't know how much longer we have here. And I know that I came here to learn. And this is part of my growth. This is part of my growth process. And I have to face things and I have to deal with things. And believe me, this year has been crazy. And it's been crazy for everyone. If you look out at every single person
Yes.
out there, they've all taken all of their junk and they are either going mad and running.
Right. And then they're offloading.
And they're
Like-
they're out of their minds.
Yeah.
Or they're behaving as we're all behaving and they're like, oh my God, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't make that phone call. I can't do that. Oh my God, what do you mean? And the thing is that you need to do it. You need to write everything down that is bugging you in your gut. You know that moment in the morning when you open your eyes, or maybe your eyes aren't even open, and you just realize, okay, I'm awake. I'm awake for another day. Thank you, Lord, right? And immediately, do you ever have those times where that just goes, like the second you know that you're awake, something grabs you like, and that is your fear. And that is your anxiety.
I don't know that I experience that.
I do.
I have fear. I have the thoughts of what is causing me my fear.
Yes.
As soon as I open up my eyes.
Yes, I
Just
have
like
that
when,
thought.
Like when you break up with a boyfriend.
Yes. Right.
And I mean, you know, I'm talking about something that happened 50 years ago, you know?
Right.
Break up with a boyfriend, and then all you can think about is the boy when you wake
Yes.
up. That.
Yes.
I have that experience.
Yes.
Like what is ailing me.
Yes, and
will
then
be
it goes
there.
straight to my chest.
Okay.
And that's how I feel it. I feel it like a clench in my chest. And I immediately say to myself, I see you. I see you. And I am going to deal with you, you dirty, nasty thing. And I am. And I'm dealing with all of this. And I've got one thing left that I'm dealing with right now. And I'm sure there's going to be something behind that
Always
I'm not
is.
aware of, right?
Always is.
But I'm dealing with these things one at a time. One at a time. You guys, you can't do it all together at one time. You can't. You've got to take turns with this stuff. And you've got to pick what you want to deal with first, right? I mean, you can't deal with everything at once, because when you try to do that, that's when you want to jump off of a bridge.
Right.
That is when you cannot handle being here. And you guys, you came here to learn. So it's time. It's time for growth.
And if you can't see it, sometimes you can't.
Right.
Because we're just riddled with fear. So you ask, hey, show me. What am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to see? What shall you have me do? What shall you have me say? And then you'll be guided. And that's the way you and I both work.
Yes.
And it seems to be, it's not the only way, it's just a way. And it's a way that we do it.
Yes,
And
and
deal with
and
our
if you
fear.
and if you can't figure things out, I mean, it's so easy for your best friend, to be able to look at you. I am sure that you can all look at your closest people and say, "This is what's wrong with them." Right? We can all do that, but to do it with yourself, boy, does that take some strength and courage. And then you screw it up when you think about it, right? So, maybe be humble enough to go to someone who knows you as a human being and who has watched you cry and watched you scream and watched you laugh and watched, had a few drinks with you, went out with you. You know what I mean? That person, and say to them, what do you think it is?
I'm not that brave.
But I did with you last week. I ended up at her door. And she told me exactly what was going on. It made sense. I was like, wow, it clicked and it's over. It's over.
It's weird how that happens.
It's amazing.
Once you put light on it, it
Yes.
lights up the whole room, and you're like, oh,
Oh, it's almost like never what you think it is.
Never. Never.
Yes. So, you know, when you know someone well enough that you're able to say that to them, ask that person to tell you what it is that you need to work on. And then be big enough to accept what they say.
Right. And taking responsibility for the condition and the location your life is in right now is really huge.
It's huge.
Taking responsibility for everything and not being the victim.
Yeah, you gotta. That needs to.
Oof.
That's another.
And
whole,
that's
that's
and
another
that's
whole episode.
Yeah, well, and the
But-
thing is that goes along with the fear, guilt, shame, is victimhood. If you feel like the victim, it's you.
It is you. It is you. You have to be responsible for the energy that you bring to the table. I don't care what your mother did to you. I don't care what your father did to you. I don't care if you were born into this world with no parents. Because with my work, as much as you don't want to believe this, you choose all of those situations. You choose them all so you can grow and learn from them. And if you don't grow and learn from them, you get to repeat them. Do you want to do that? I know I don't. So you need to try and learn from these things. And if, you know, in my situation, and hey, my mom and I have been around the block 100 times. I had issues with my mom. But the thing is that, you know what? I didn't. I had issues with myself. I had issues with myself. And I figured that out.
Right?
Right. And I didn't figure that out until so much later in life. And I put my mother through so much pain and grief. And to this day, I'll always feel bad about that. But because of my mother, I grew.
Right.
I grew because of the person that I blamed for stunting my growth.
It's weird,
I grew.
right?
So, yes.
Weird, right?
Yes. And now
Mm-hmm.
I just love her. You know, I do. And I don't feel any of that any longer. And
Because it was a matter of seeing, because you took responsibility
Yes.
for what was happening.
yes, and you guys, you need to do that. And I know
And that's hard.
It's really hard.
Well, so one of the things that you want to pay attention to, so we'll try and give you a little bit of an idea of how you can start capturing and slowing down those moments of fear and how they might show up in your life. They might show up as an irritation of your coworker, an irritation of your spouse. You can't stand your kid. They can show up just with the lady at the grocery store. Every time you're irritated, that is your built-in system. Thank God we have this system, allowing you, alerting you to know that something is amiss, something is going on with your perception about what's happening. And it's not them. I know it seems like it's them because they're doing it. They're the ones being annoying. They're the ones not putting the dishes away. They're the ones that didn't load the dishwasher, and I told them. They're the ones who left their stupid panties on the floor. When they do those things and you're annoyed, that is your time and your signal to pay attention to what's happening inside of you. What does that mean that they left their panties on the floor? Or that they left the dishes in the sink.
Like, what is that thing about them that is totally you?
Right. And what is it why are you so annoyed?
Because you don't like that part of yourself.
Right, because we want to try to stay away from it.
Yes.
So, and also...
So is your daughter lazy because she leaves her underwear on the floor? Is she
Right.
lazy? Are you lazy?
Right. Did she disrespect you? Is
Right.
that just disrespect?
Do you disrespect yourself?
Yeah. How do you disrespect yourself? How? What does that mean? Because there's panties on the floor. I mean, I know it's just panties, but it's not. It's never just panties. Panties are the opportunity for you to look at what's really going on inside of you. Because really, who cares about the panties?
Right.
Because if something ever happened to your kid, you would pick up those panties.
Oh my God, yes.
Right?
And you'd be happy if there were 100 pairs of them.
Yeah, you'd be like, nah, sorry, fine.
Exactly.
It's weird. So it's an opportunity for you to look at yourself. It's an opportunity when your spouse is so annoying, when your spouse doesn't pay attention to you, doesn't make eye contact with you when you're talking to him, right? And then you think, oh my God, he hates me. He doesn't love me. He doesn't love me. The other spouse, he does all that stuff, and my spouse doesn't do it.
Right.
It's
But
an
your spouse
opportunity.
makes the bed in the morning, and that other spouse doesn't do that. So
Right.
you can't compare people. Right,
Right,
exactly.
right.
It is. It's an opportunity to grow. And it's an opportunity that you own that energy. You have to own it. You guys, you have to own it. That is the step one.
How am I responsible because he left the bed unmade?
Right,
How am I responsible?
right. Exactly.
You are.
Yes. Right.
Right?
Or, I mean, I read people all the time. For example, they hate their fathers. They hate their fathers because their fathers say, I don't know, we're alcoholics, and they left and, left the whole situation. And, and now the father's coming through in a reading and apologizing to this child. And this child is so angry, And now this child is having issues with their children. The same sorts of issues, even though they were there for their children the whole entire time. And they can't understand why. Well, what's the common denominator here? What is the common factor? You. You are the common factor. And you need to figure out why people behave this way and own that energy that the people behave this way around you. And you have to take the blame and whatever you can do to fix it and apologize and move forward. But you cannot blame this on other people. You have to look at yourself.
The only place out of whatever you're feeling is in.
Yes. That is the only thing, you guys. And until you heal a lot of this, you're not going to be okay. And I think that a lot of us, I really do believe this. A lot of us right now, we're kind of like in robotic mode. And we're here, we're living, we're living in the fear. We're living in, I'm sorry, it's out there. It's in the air. You can feel it in the air.
And it's there for a reason.
Yes. It's the worst I have ever felt it. Ever in my whole life.
And you would say, Lisa, why would you even say that? It's here for a reason.
Right. Well, yeah. But
it is.
It is. But
An opportunity.
Right. But the thing, it's amazing to sit back and watch. I mean, half of the world's just gone mad.
Absolutely.
They have gone mad. And,
And you can choose that way.
Oh, yes, you can. It's the easy way. Not really.
It's just
Not
a way.
really.
It's a way. It's a way. You're either going to choose to be able to try and look at it. Now, I'm not telling you to look at it positively.
No.
This is not about being positive at all. This
About
is
being real.
And walking through the trenches and being willing to look at yourself and be willing to walk through the fire for you. Because when you heal you heal your kids, your spouse, your mom, your dad, your bloodline. You heal your grandparents. You heal all of us. So this is an opportunity for us to all heal. Because it's not just about you, even though it's totally about you.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes. And don't forget, you guys, we're all doing the human stuff. We're all running around in circles. We're all going to work. We're all trying to make money and to support ourselves. We're all driving our cars around. We're still trying to go to the grocery store. Everything's just crazy, crazy, crazy. And you forget that there's a soul in there. You forget that's why you're here. You're not here to compete with people.
Right.
You're competing with yourself.
I mean, I compete with everybody.
Well,
but that's my thing. I do. I'm
right.
just competitive nature.
Yes.
No, but I'm saying our job is, like, I'm going off what you said. Our job is to become the best us that we can.
Right.
And then through that is uncovering our fears, the shame that we carry, and the shame that we carry from our families, the shame that we carry from high school, the shame that we carry from being a little kid, the fear, the guilt, it's all taking a toll. And the universe is saying to every single one of us on this planet, it's time.
To release this.
It's time. It can't come with you for the next part of your life.
Yes.
And it's going to keep on doing it until you pay attention. And one of the things that I would suggest is making a list of all. Now, this list is not for your spouse to see, your children to see, your friends. It's not for you to discuss with anyone. I mean, go ahead if you want to. But this is solely for you. List of all the things that you're really pissed at. And everybody on there that you're that you're pissed at. Every one of them. You write them all down. You write them down. And then you burn it. Because you don't want anybody to see that. You don't want anybody to feel that part of you. Because honestly, it's probably not even real.
Right.
It's
and then
just
the
the way
burning,
it manifests.
in the burning,
Yeah.
the releasing.
Yeah, you release it up to
Energetically
God.
releasing
Yeah.
up to God.
And then when I know one of the things that I do is I have a burn jar out front, not like a burn book, but a burn jar. And when I have anxiety, I write what I'm anxious about. I write down what I'm afraid of, so that way I can see what's really going on. Because it's never usually something triggers it, but it's never usually about what triggered me. So I write it, I crunch them up in paper balls, and I throw it in the jar, and I throw it in a jar. And then I get a sparkler stick, I poke it, and then I light it on fire. And then every time I feel it, I go sit outside and I write it again, because I need to be clear about what is really happening inside my body, what is really happening inside of me. Because I do real estate for a living, and it's a lot of feast and famine, and it's a lot of, I describe it actually as like you ever see a goldfish swimming upside down? He's swimming, and then all of a sudden he perks back up and he's alive again. That's every deal in real estate. At any moment, you could have a dead fish. So it triggers a lot of fear in me. And that's when I noticed that I needed to start doing that, was because I couldn't get a control of it. It was controlling me.
Right.
And I needed to be able to not have it those fears come into the next transaction, or fears to come into the next people I deal with. So that is how one of the ways I deal with my anxiety for work.
Yes. Yes. And you guys,
What do you do?
Oh,
What
Lord.
do you do?
I mean, I talk to my people, but
I mean, I talk to my people
Yes.
too, but
yes. One thing with me, and Becky, my assistant, she always laughs at me when I say this to her. But every day I wake up every single morning, and I do my rituals. I do my protection prayers. Archangel Michael to protect me, and I talk to Jesus and do all my stuff. And I always pray. And I know I sound nuts, but I really hope that that you guys can come through, and I hope that this is a good, these are good readings today, and that we get some healing done, and that people are better. And I have that underlying fear all the time that I am going to disappoint people in my readings.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was it, a few weeks ago, I'm standing there, and I think I told you this, I'm pretty sure I did, and I'm standing there doing my prayers, and I just heard very loudly inside of my head, "Why do you always do this?" And I'm like, "Do what? Why are you always asking us that you hope this goes well?" And I said, "Well, I hope that it goes well." And I heard, "Just shut up and do what you're supposed to do." Okay. So, and I'll tell you, that was a fear of mine that I've been doing readings for how long, Lisa? Like 16 years? Something like, I've been doing readings a long time, and that was a daily prayer that I said every day. And just a few weeks ago, I heard, "Just shut up and do what you came here to do. Why do you think so much about it?" Well, after I heard that, I thought, why do I think so much about it?
Right.
Why do I? Because I don't want to disappoint or upset people. But the thing is that a lot of times when I feel that I do disappoint or upset people, I'm telling them things they don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then that all has to do with their fear.
And then that makes you uncomfortable.
And that makes me uncomfortable. And I shouldn't be uncomfortable with that, because it's what I'm here to do. But when all you want is your dad to come through and say, I love you, everything's great and you're perfect, and that's not what happens.
Right.
Right? Because they come through to try to help you and guide you on what your lessons are here. So that's part of my job. And, and that made me realize it. I also, when I wake up in the morning and I have my fears, we both, I'm running a business. I'm
And
doing,
people are mean.
and they're not nice, and I have an employee, it's just, there's a lot on my shoulders, and, but I'm grateful as anything for it. But, there's a lot of stress there, and every time that gets to me, because that's the part I hate about what I do. It's the legal end of it. That stuff can get me, did I do this right? Did I do that right? Did I write my books this way? Did I do it that, and that stuff I have to breathe through.
Right.
I have to breathe through that. And I just have to close my eyes, put my feet on the ground, just really deep in through the mouth and out through the nose. And I just have to do it until that feeling goes away.
Right.
We all have something that will work, and breathing for me is huge. And I think that works for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
It's just slowing it down. Yeah, so you can have time
Yes.
to before you react. Yeah.
Yes. But I also want you to look at that fear and say, I see you. I see
Acknowledge
you.
it. Yep.
I acknowledge you.
Mhm.
And I'm
I
going to
see
take
you.
care of you.
Mm-hmm.
I see you. And then when you do see it, if your fear or your shame is something, I've always been the type of person, and I don't think everybody has always understood me. I can have the most embarrassing thing happen to me, the most horrific thing ever, and I will call Lisa on the phone and be like, oh my God, my pants fell off in Walmart. And I'll be hysterically laughing, or somebody caught me picking my nose, or I just fess up. Right. And to me, if you just fess up immediately and
Owning
you
it.
put it out there and you own it, this is what happened, ha ha ha, ooh, you're gross, whatever it is, and you move through it.
Right. In that book, there's a book my daughter wrote, actually. She calls it Owning Your Awful.
Yeah, you have to own your
the
awful.
Shift Star method. It talks about owning the awful parts of ourselves. Yeah.
And it's huge, you guys. We all have it. Nobody's better than you. Nobody's worse than you. We're all here on different levels, learning different levels, learning different lessons on different levels. And we all have to interact with each other. And there are so many young souls. Most of us are somewhere in the middle. And so many very advanced souls.
Right.
And you cannot compare yourself to other people. You have to learn your thing.
Your journey.
It's your journey. It's your journey. And, you bring in your people that you want on your journey. And when you shift as a human being, when your energy shifts, when your perception shifts, your crowd around you shifts. You will no longer be able to be around those who only knew the old you and want to pull you back into that energy of the fear. And right,
and we can all have, like, so if you have a deal, you have something going on with your husband, you're like, oh my God, I'm so afraid if I deal with that, I'm not going to be married. You can have a new husband every single solitary day. You work this out.
Yes.
Because he changes with you.
Because he changes with you. And yes, and that definitely has happened in my situation. And it just, you just change the energy of who you are. That energy then becomes the energy of your house. Things shift. There's no more anger. There's no more hostility. And don't get me wrong, I will lose my shit and my head will spin on people. I am not, you know what I mean? I'm a human being.
Yeah.
I am a human being. And yes, you are allowed to get angry. And yes, you are still allowed to get scared. But then you have to deal with it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You can't just run up to your bedroom and go in the closet and pull a blanket over your head. You can't. You got to do it.
I'm going to give you an example of a fear that I still work on, but I see it a lot easier. And if you would have asked me in the beginning if this was a fear of mine, I would have been, whatever. So every morning I do a mantra. And this particular morning I had a roller derby bout. I think I told you this story before. I had a roller derby bout that night. And that morning I went, oh, thank you, God. Thanks for making me MVP. I didn't deserve to have MVP. So at the end of the bout, it was a great bout. It was really awesome. And then I'm taking my skates off, and they say, MVP, Lisa, or Lawless, they call me. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I was getting that today. So I start walking towards getting my award, and this overcome with fear to where I was in a tunnel. And I was in a tunnel of thoughts of, oh, my teammates are going to say, this was a mercy MVP. She really didn't deserve this MVP. She was not the best. I wasn't the best. And I knew it. But what I did do, and why I got the award, is because I was really kind and loving and sweet to the other team. And I made sure they had everything that they needed. They were from 3 states away. I was just the one. So they liked me and they connected with me. Was I the best player? No, by derby wise, but I was a really good player.
Right.
Like I played. But I wanted to give that trophy back in the worst way, even though I really wanted it. But how I wanted to give it away is when I saw my friends after I was given the award, I wanted to say, I know this was a mercy MVP. And when I tell you I wanted to tell them that 1,000 times, I wanted to tell them that 1,000 times. And I wanted to give back the one thing that I just asked God for. I wanted to give it away because I was so uncomfortable.
You didn't think you were worthy.
With the thoughts that they were thinking I didn't deserve it.
Yes.
And
and that is a thing with you.
Oh, it's a
That
thing.
is a total thing with you.
So
Yes.
but if you were to ask me if I gave a shit what people think about me, I'd be like, no, I don't care. Do whatever. But obviously I did care. I did care what they thought. But what I did afterward was I can look at my trophy now and be really proud because I not only got MVP, but what I did was I didn't react the way I wanted to react. And that was to give it back, to make excuses, to go to everyone on my team and say, I know, I got the MVP. It's so embarrassing. I wanted to do that. I wanted to offload my uncomfortableness, but I said, no, you are not doing this. You are not giving this back. You deal with what you're feeling and sit with what you're feeling. Feel uncomfortable and stay there. And it took me 2 weeks to stop having the thoughts of wanting to vomit it out and give it back to them because I couldn't carry the uncomfortableness of getting the award and then thinking that they thought I didn't deserve it. Because I knew that I didn't deserve it in the way that they normally did, but I did deserve it in the other way.
Yes.
So that's just a way of how sometimes we ask the world for things, and then once we get it, we're really uncomfortable because we're afraid. And pay attention to that, how that shows up in your life.
Yes.
Pay attention how you get irritated. Even the slightest irritation. Start there. Don't start with the big stuff. Start with the small stuff, the stuff you can handle.
Yes.
So to get some momentum so you can see it. And I promise you, your world will change. Absolutely.
Yes. And, we're here for you guys. I'm assuming there's probably like a place they can comment on the YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have any questions about anything that we're saying to you, please ask us. Listen, we don't know everything. But I'll tell you what, we have been working our butts off to try to figure out this stuff for many, many years. And we get asked a lot of questions. And that's why we started these videos. We're all God's kids, and He wants us all to succeed down here. And the least we can do is
we're
help
walking
each other out.
home.
Yes. Yeah, we are. We're walking each other home. And, and when we get back there, we're all going to just rejoice that we did it. That we did it, that we learned. I mean, if you just learn one of your things that you came here to learn, you're ahead of the game. And, and the thing is that you have to remember, you cannot force teach anyone. You can't. So you need to fix yourself. And if your kids want to follow you, if your husband wants to follow you, if your friend, great. If they don't, great. I mean, we're all here on our own missions.
We pull them with us, though.
Yes, we do pull them with us.
And we don't change our spouses and our children
They're our spouses and children for reasons.
Right. They are. We have to change us.
We have to change us.
Yeah.
So you guys, we're all going through it. We just want you to understand that we understand. We're just trying to give you some coping mechanisms here. And, you know, she describes it her way and I describe it my way, you know, and there's a million things for us to talk about. We just really kind of decided to do the fear thing today, anxiety, and because it's so big out there right now. So if, you know, anything you guys want to talk about, let us know.
And anxiety is real.
Yeah.
No joke. And that anxiety is your teacher. And at least you're like, oh, okay. I know you can't see it right now. But anxiety is going to be your big teacher. It's there to show you.
Yes, it definitely is. And let's work on the fear part this week, and let's stop blaming others for situations that we don't like.
So hard.
Yes, but you have to just say, I'm responsible for this. I'm responsible.
How am I responsible? Because he drinks. All right.
But you are.
How?
But you are. Instead of getting angry about it, you become comfortable with who you are as a person. It won't bother you so much that he drinks. And then when you become who you want to be as a person, it's weird. It like you will turn around and we become but then you almost have compassion in that area. It's strange because then you realize that drinking has nothing to do with you. That drinking has to do with him.
And if it has something to do with you, it's about your perception of what that means that he's drinking.
Right. Exactly. So you've just got to work on yourself. You're the only one you can fix. You're the only
It's not
one
your
you can
job to
fix.
fix them.
No, it's not. It's not. You know, it's definitely not. And believe me, and your closest people are your hardest people because you'll realize that you're not their teacher. And when that hits you. You know, but you hope in time that they figure it out, you know, and then you pray for them. So, you know, start working on the fear thing. Promise us. And we'll be back next week with God knows what.
Yeah, so if you have questions about like a specific situation, maybe we will take a specific situation and talk about it.
Yes.
So if you have something, you know, we'll pick it apart for you.
Yeah, we'll definitely pick it apart for you. So you can have a different perception on how to look at it. You know, which is something I do in my readings. I do that for people constantly. And some people like it and some people don't. Oh, well. But, I mean, what am I going to do? You know? But, yes, it does help to know, you know, things, exact situations. It does help to know that. But, you guys, you're good. You're good.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for joining
we really
us.
Appreciate it.
And, you know, I hope we didn't confuse you too much.
I hope not. I mean, because I never look at the tapes anyway.
Yeah, we don't watch these after they're done. Okay, you guys. Well, you know, give us about another week. We'll have another video out for you. Push us out there on Facebook. Get everybody following us. And let's kind of lighten the planet a little bit here. Spread the light. Let everyone know we're in this together. And, you know.
Do us a favor. Do yourself a favor. Don't respond to something on Facebook.
Oh, don't do that.
Even though it's okay. I know you want to. I get it. But maybe we can all just try to do that. When somebody irritates us, just don't respond.
Yes.
Say nothing.
Just say nothing.
And write it on a piece of paper and put it in your burn jar.
Yes.
Just don't do it.
Yes.
That little act of love right there.
Yeah, don't play into the negativity because it overtakes you. It really does.
And it's there. All this negativity that we're all doing is an opportunity to see ourselves. So
yes,
it's there for you. I'm sorry. We could go on for hours. We're saying goodbye. We are saying goodbye.
Be the better person. Always be the better person.
Always.
And you'll be better for it. All right, you guys. Peace out. We love you. And we'll see you next week.